Hi guys, so another topic that we're gonna tackle is the permeability study, privacy, and accessibility. But first off, I would like to ask a question. What binds a civilized society? So, civilization comes from the Latin word civis, which means city dwellers. So, a city is an organized society where people, meron silang iba't ibang trabaho, may advancing progress sa surroundings sila, and meron silang sinusunod na written format and languages. So, people will understand each other. Pero paano ba natin masasabi na it is a civilized society? In early civilizations, 'di ba, yung mga tao noon, hindi lang naman sila nagkaroon ng systemized way of living without shared beliefs and connection. Like for example, yung mga tao noon, naninirahan sila near the river to sustain their needs sa agriculture, sa pagluluto nila, and as a source of food supply. Up until they discover how to improve their way of living, which is nakapag-produce na sila ng mga canal and irrigation ditches para kahit malayo, they will have access to waters. And compared to now, na advanced, really advancing technology na, it is much easier for people to access on waters, which is within our reach na yung water. So that once you wake up, you already have a water to drink, and that is because of the people behind the management of a civilized society. So it means na kapag yung certain society reaches the advanced stage ng kanilang pamumuhay, that is called civilization. And in this study, permeability means the connectivity and extent of the urban forms ng mga tao, ng mga vehicles, yung hangganan ng mga urban spaces in a purpose to provide privacy but still having an access to public realm. Permeability in this context refers to the ease of movement through an area, accommodating pedestrians and other forms of transportation. One of the aspects that's a civilized society is the freedom to walk on the streets where you feel safe and secure while walking. Dito na pumapasok yung role ng urban government kung paano niya i-manage yung public domain tsaka yung private realm. Or ito yung tinatawag na urban spaces that are publicly accessible, yung ating public domain, or yung private spaces, which ito naman yung mga owned establishment, or simply an individual housing. So this is the Victoria Center in Nottingham. Yung Victoria Center in Nottingham is private owned. Pero meron siyang mga internal streets that are open for public sa makikita niyo sa picture. Kung permitted naman ng mga owners, it could be open to public. However, ang naging challenge dito is that yung mga internal streets for pedestrians are limited lang siya for four main entrances. So it's limited only for four main entrances. And yung separation is very confusing kasi once na dumami yung tao, um, magkakaroon ng overcrowd. And then, yung mga taos na papasok sa mga shopping mall, which is clearly a private property, that means kung mapapansin natin, dito sa layout na ganito, the public realm is very limited. Yung access natin sa public realm is very limited. Yun yung nagiging problema ng mga designers kung paano mabe-breakdown yung scale ng public domain and private establishments. In this case, sa Victoria Center, in Nottingham, there should be an increase. Kailangan ng karagdagang access sa public realm. Another one, so since nakita na natin yung problema sa Victoria Center, Nottingham, merong street layout, meron silang indicate na rough guide for an acceptable level of permeability, which is a street layout with street blocks somewhere between 1 acre and 1 hectare in area. In this manner, may street junctions or kung saan yung dalawang road na connecting, and this is a layout na may ensure yung maneuverability ng mga vehicles, makokontrol yung traffic, yung safety ng tao mapoprioritize, and yung convenience and efficiency. So, mas magandang layout to. Kung i-compare natin yung street layout sa street layout na ganito, sa layout ng Victoria Center, lacking siya in terms of ease of navigation at saka ng public access. Examining the street layout to determine the level of choice and variety of route for moving from place to place. Yung pattern ng street blocks is one measure kung gaano kadaming tao yung gumagamit ng spaces. Ano yung pinaka-busy na market. In this sa street layout, mas madaling ma-distinguish kung saan yung pinaka-busy na market or kung saan yung gamit or use na public route. Another layout that we have is hierarchical layouts. So, kung yung traditional grid street layout, it increases public accessibility since marami silang pwedeng ways and maraming choice of routes dahil interlinked yung mga roads. Yung hierarchical layout naman, o this kind of layout, it reduces permeability. Kung kanina, it increases permeability. This one, it reduces permeability kasi it reduces also in terms of choice ng routes. Yung important feature na mayroon yung layout na to is yung cul-de-sac. Ito yung way or path na it leads to nowhere or dead end. Tapos yung layout na ito, konti lang yung pagpipilian ng mga routes. Yung ganitong cul-de-sac development, it is usually visible or makikita natin sa mga Muslim cities. 'Di ba yung layout ng mosque ng Muslim cities is mosque in the center, tapos may mga residential and markets na nakapalibot, tapos may mga public buildings na nasa main entrances. Yung hierarchical layout is widely popular siya sa Islamic city planning because it is suitable sa norms nila na malaki yung pagpapahalaga nila sa privacy, sa family privacy. Yung cul-de-sac development, meron silang madami siyang advantages. Security for residents, bakit? Since yung onti lang yung escape routes nung sino man na pwedeng mag-invade sa isang area, kagaya ng mga muggers o magnanakaw. So, um, malayo to or this kind of security, wala nang magtatangkang mga nagnanakaw na pumunta sa isang area na yon because there's um, limited pagdating sa escape routes. Mas lalo pa siyang magiging safe, it is monitored ng mga residents na nakatira doon. And since fewer yung routes niya, it is easy to navigate, tsaka madali siyang i-monitor. And it will be routed to a safe public realm depends on how it is being managed and monitored. Kaya naglalagay ng mga street lights, ng mga traffic lights, ng mga car lanes, and more features in an urban planning for easy monitoring tsaka ng isang urban space. So this is a visual example ng hierarchical layout. So merong one way sa A and D kung saan kailangan mo pang dumaan ng B and C. Hindi siya directly A and D. So need mo pang dumaan sa lane ng B and C at kung mapapansin nyo, it is generated with cul-de-sacs, dead ends, at saka konti lang yung choice ng routes niya. Pag naman may separation sa motor vehicles and pedestrians, sinabi sa study na to na it could be self-policing. Paano siya nagiging self-policing? Dahil pag na-overcrowd yung isang spaces, hindi na magiging balance yung number of vehicles. And people, pagka nagka-overpopulate na yung mga tao, yung pedestrian, ang effect nun is that magiging heavy yung traffic. Yun yung tinatawag na pedestrianization, kung saan yung area na yon nagiging daanan na lamang ng mga tao. And yung volume ng tao doon is very intense na and beyond the capacity ng built sidewalks. Ang disadvantage nung pedestrian-oriented, yung segregation ng motor vehicles tsaka ng pedestrian, magkakaroon na ng isolation and magiging overpopulated na yung isang area dahil wala nang variation. Dahil puro tao na lang yung nandun, and lalo if sidewalks are not maintained well, it could be a cause of accidents. On the other hand naman, kung vehicles naman yung magkukos ng heavy traffic, the area would be polluted, and that is why kapag may mga nag-o-occur ng iba't ibang ways, um, how to balance the use of vehicles and pedestrians. Ay talagang it will change a lot within an urban place. Kaya merong Woonerf pioneered in Holland. So as we can see in the picture, yung purpose ng Woonerf pioneered in Holland, combination siya ng vehicles and pedestrians na eh. So may mga landscape, may mga pavings, may mga physical barriers for safety, trees for greeneries, lanes for parking, and no continuous curve. So yung purpose ng hindi continuous yung curve is to avoid damage and sa traffic control din. And also to protect vehicular rights. Sa case ng Woonerf, the vehicle shall drive in the speed na compatible sa pagbibisikleta at paglalakad. And then the other one is the tree-lined boulevard. Is just trees aligned with other trees, yung alignment ng trees within the distance of other trees. Tapos meron siyang sidewalk, tsaka may vehicular space siya for vehicular movements. So, infusion na siya ng pedestrian and vehicular movements, combined rather than being separated. Based on this study, pagka nagkakaroon ng krimen sa mga areas na konti lang yung activity, and syempre pag onti yung activity, it means lesser people, and then may blind or dead spots na kapag minomonitor na sa CCTV. It was said na yung mga residents na naninirahan sa mga no-go areas or yung mga trouble spot is bihirang makapagbigay ng valuable info kung meron man violence na nangyari sa area na yon. That is why the benefits of street frontage become essential. Pag sinabi natin na street frontage, either a side of a building facing a public street or open for public spaces. Kaya pag ganito yung mechanism na mayroong frontage between public and private establishment, is very essential sa study nito dahil it hits two birds with one stone na, 'di ba? You can ensure privacy and you can also have still have a friendly environment to revolve in, privacy in which security through the use of porches, gardens, fences, windows, or other boundaries where people have ways to interact in a safety manner. These are visual links. So these are the visual links that binds people together in a society. Kaya kung wala yung mga visual links na to, walang taong pupunta, there is no interaction, and mawawalan ng connection yung public domain and private realm. So, a layout sa isang city is for real, can affect even the tiniest beings living in it. So, dumako naman tayo sa visual analysis. We have three main parts of visual analysis. A study of three-dimensional spaces, a study of two-dimensional surfaces which enclose public space, a study for the architectural details which give to an area of much of its special character. Basically 3D, 2D, and architectural details. So the most common tools for recording spatial composition. So we have the camera in the three-dimensional perspective drawn from normal eye level, townscape sketch by Colin. So the most useful tool na ginagamit para makita natin yung visual or spatial composition ng isang area is 3D, in which now, pwede na tayo gumamit ng mga softwares, but before, through rough sketch 3D perspective pa lang. So this is an example of a townscape sketch by Callen. So si Gordon Callen, he pioneered the book A Townscape, in which sa book niya, he emphasized yung coherence ng buildings, ng streets, by drawing it dramatically, exaggerating the charming aspects para makita yung changes sa isang area. In his sketch, we can see the openness through road networks, the irregularity and variation of building blocks and closures, mga curves. So makikita natin sa sketch niya yung mga focal point, may mga fences, pero medyo lang dramatically exaggerating lang yung pagkakagawa ng perspective. Sa book niya, may tinatawag siya na serial vision, which mean habang nagmo-move ka into a place, you are unfolding a new visual experience. Like for example, pumunta ka ng Disneyland or Enchanted Kingdom. First ride mo is hinahagis kasi yung papawid ng ride. Then after that ride, pumunta ka sa water rides. It is kung paano nababago yung scenic views mo, as well yung mental and emotional or psychological state natin. Pag we move to one place to another, sequence. It is the series of series of visual experience as you journey across landscape. So, nagagamit natin yon when we travel because yung serial vision, we can easily, yung serial vision na yon, makakatulong sa atin to easily navigate places. Mas magiging madali yung routes mo, madali kang mag-transition to one place to another. So, this picture, for example, ito, photographic record siya of wandering journey. It is an example of serial vision. So the second picture, this sketch also depicts serial vision because it is like you are viewing it. It is like you are walking in the street. Third picture, ito naman is a gestural hand-drawn sketch, which we can see there is a relationship in each picture. We can see na meron siyang connection or connectivity, which is an important part sa isang permeability. Fourth picture naman, this one naman is a digital serial vision. It emphasizes yung mga dancing lights, yung mga shadow placements. So the concept of serial vision is to make it more like a storyboard. Sequence of 3Ds that looks like you are in it in real life. Kaya dito yung mga pictures na ito, we can see na yung relationship ng mga pictures, it is like you are traveling in real life. Number 2, this one is the Map of Rome by Giambattista Noli. This is a most useful technique for recording public space in the city, then analyzing its distribution and connection. We have this 3D map wherein yung solid block, ito yung mga buildings, and then yung voids, yung white. Yun yung streets and squares. But, nagsuggest ng alternative mapping si Gibbard. He is a planner. Yung buildings and public spaces will be white, tas yung streets and squares will be black. Sa analysis na ito, with just one color change, the perspective has changed. Kung kanina, um, nakafocus tayo sa buildings because it is the one emphasized. Now, naman, our mind is set to view the streets or the anti-form. It is possible pala na ma-highlight yung weaknesses and points of connection using visual analysis. In this case, a 2D mapping. So we have the useful techniques for spatial analysis. Pag nag-examine ng mga geographic patterns, maghahanap ng business locations or just analyzing, for example, a traffic condition. So these techniques are used. The first one is the aerial photograph. This one will use a massive equipments if you want to have a wider view sa isang area. Kailangan mo gumamit ng mga helicopters, mga drones, mga aerial cameras. Number 2, the aerial axonometric. So this one is kind of like isometric view na visible na yung block form composition ng mga buildings and much easier naman siya compared to drawing as perspective. The aerial perspective. So this one naman, we know this naman na. So you visually see yung mga illusion of depth. Yan. Another is the distorted bird's eye view by J.H. Aronson. Ginamit niya yung technique na to illustrate and analyze the urban form. It is done by using multiple vanishing and distorted in the concept na para it is like revolving while seeing yung dynamic relationship ng public spaces. This one, 3D model wherein we can include architectural details to which will give it a more special character. Si Gibson, he suggests na use cheaper materials sa paggawa ng 3D model such as paggamit ng mga papers para mas madaling i-recreate, madaling i-destroy, madaling i-alter, ibahin. Another technique naman is the study about color and material. So si Len Clos, nag-develop siya ng strategy to keep the traditions of the region by incorporating yung mga materials. So, katulad mga urban fabric colors, may mga textures. So, nag-collect siya ng mga swatches of those dominant colors. And yung mga materials na yon na visible or yung dominant sa isang lugar na yon, um, yun yung ginamit nila as a characteristic feature sa landmark, sa mga paths, sa mga nodes na yun. So, it will highly describe talaga the image of the city. Roof line serves as a distinctive feature of a society, and even before, it is an indication of power. So, in this one, makikita natin yung techniques na ginamit ni Holford for building heights. Ito yung the Dome of St. Paul in London, and it is the most imposing landmark sa London. Yung plan ni Holford is to retain yung form ng dome. Yung naging resulta ay imposition of a height strategy around Paul's Cathedral. Nagkandak sila ng study ng landform at saka ng topography na yon. Yun yung magiging basis nila to determine yung building height. Yung pinaka-aim nila rito is to have a hill and bowl effect. So, yung hill and bowl effect, restricted yung mga matataas na buildings sa matataas na lupa. And yung itatayo na mga lower buildings, yun lang yung pwedeng itayo sa mga valleys. Another technique is a 3D computer model of the urban environment. So this kind of visual technique is ginagamit naman natin until now. Clearly, this is a 3D tool. If may mga arrangements if may mga arrangements or kailangan i-arrange, mas madaling makapag-generate and alter dahil mas accurate na yung viewpoints natin using a 3D computer model. So in 2.7 Haverford West, so this is a case study. Yung location nito is in a small Pembrokeshire town that is adjacent sa river. Features are medieval street pattern, which ang vision nila is to have the medieval character and ma-restore yung regional character ng town para ma-obtain nila yung vision nila sa townscape. The visual study identified in three, which is the main spaces, modifying elements, and the details. So, yung main spaces are the main public spaces, streets, and squares. Modifying elements are frontages, trees, fences, walls, and add signs. Details comes naman in the finer point of the building, which is ito yung mga materials, mga color, mga moldings. Ito yung mga feature na ito have a positive, negative, and neutral role in a townscape. So, the Central Environment Area, isa sa pinaka-importanting quarters sa Haverford West. Yun yung Central Environment Area. Yun yung center ng commercial nila. It formed the High Street, which is the central spine of the town. Ito yung public spaces and core of the town. Yung High Street, ito yung first impression sa mga guests na nagpupunta. Nandito yung river, nandito yung attraction ng tourists. Ito yung proposed improvements na sinuggest ng City Form 21. Kung makikita natin, dito yung sinuggest nila. So, ito yung mga naka-enumerate. Ito yung the George dati, and then now the Riverside. Ito naman is the Riverside before and then recent picture. So, there is a visible improvements. Yung proposal na 8 environmental areas are linked sa plan ng town trails which will improve routes sa Haverford West. Pero due to time tsaka mga financial constraint for the perceptual study. Um, hindi siya na-pursue. So, yung perceptual study kasi, it is a useful techniques for site analysis. Malaking part dito yung participation ng mga residents sa mga public survey, ganyan. Tapos, um, yun nga, due to time and finance, it was not pursued. In perceptual study, the view of the range of users is very useful, including narito yung mga residents, mga nagtatrabaho sa area, and yung mga visitors, mga tourists, kasama yan sa perceptual study. Kaya nag-develop ng sketch map area si Lynch using Lynch techniques dahil hindi nila pursue o hindi nila na-pursue yung perceptual study. But in here, makikita natin yung elements na common sa mga users dahil um, nag-develop si Lynch ng kanyang sketch map. So, in conclusion, sa case study na ito, they analyze first yung past development ng isang area. Tapos, perceptual study na. They involve the people living and using the area para ma-determine yung identity at saka image ng isang town or city. And they also include yung mga detailed studies by using prepared techniques tulad ng permeability, visual analysis, tsaka mga sketch mapping. Yun yung ginagamit na ng mga techniques to complete a townscape analysis. Another consideration here is yung danger yun ng collecting too much information. So yung pag-use kasi ng extensive survey is not to provide instant solution. It is more on understanding the environments, the history, the foundation, ng mga developments. So in conclusion, yung pinaka-purpose ng survey and analysis or survey techniques and analysis is first, mag-form ka muna ng understanding about the problem being investigated. Tapos, saka ka mag-provide ng framework kasi the survey strategy will depend its result sa nature tsaka scope ng study area mo. So, yun lang for visual analysis, tackling permeability study as well as perceptual study and the case study in Haverford West.